You may have heard by now, there was a student in Oklahoma, Nex Benedict, a 16-year-old non-binary student. Here's a picture that I could share with you here. This is from Judd Legum's site, popular.info. But Nex Benedict was apparently assaulted in a high school bathroom in Oklahoma and died a day after being assaulted. Now, the specifics of what happened are still being hashed out. And I think the police said one thing, and you don't want to trust what they said. The parents of Nex say that's not exactly what happened. So I won't speculate on the nature of all that, but it sure doesn't seem like it was something natural. You know what I mean? It doesn't look good there. But the reason this is troubling, many reasons it's troubling, is because it suggests that in a red state like Oklahoma, LGBTQ students, openly LGBTQ students, are literally in danger. A student can be assaulted in the bathroom if they are openly binary, like Nex Benedict was, and that's frightening. So last Friday night in Oklahoma, you know how like local chambers of commerce might say, hey, we're doing an event with a bunch of local politicians. You can hear legislative updates on what they're working on. You can ask them questions. I mean, good. Those events are fine. So they had one of those in a part of Oklahoma, and it featured, I think, 4 lawmakers in the Oklahoma legislature. And there was an audience member. Her name is Kathy Cott. And I mean, thank goodness she was there, because she asked the 4 Republican members of the legislature who were there at the event why they had, and I'm quoting here, such an obsession with the LGBTQ citizens of Oklahoma and what people do in their personal lives and how they raise their children. Right? Like, great question. Why are you so obsessed with non-binary students, with gay students, with trans students? What is it about them? Why are you so fixated on them that you won't help them, that you won't do anything, right? And obviously, this is coming in the wake of the murder, possibly the death of Nex Benedict. And a couple of those Republicans said, I guess, what you would expect them to say, like, I'm sorry about what happened. They didn't get into the substance of the question. But I want to share with you what one of those state senators said. His name is Tom Woods, and he gave possibly the worst answer you could have given to that question. The first thing he says, and I'm going to play this for you, is his heart goes out to Nex Benedict and their family. But listen to the next thing he said after that, because it's horrifying. I want to be clear, there's no video of this. So what I'm going to show you is just a still picture and the audio that we do have playing in the background.
My heart goes out to that scenario if that is the case. But we represent a constituency. We're a Republican state, supermajority in the House and Senate. I represent a constituency that doesn't want that filth in Oklahoma. You know, we are a religious state. We are going to fight to keep that filth out of the state of Oklahoma, because we're a Christian state. We're a moral state. We want lower taxes. We want people to be able to live and work and go to the faith they choose. We are a Republican state. I'm going to vote my district. I'm going to vote my values, and we don't want that in the state of Oklahoma.
Going to wrap up real quick.
I know you heard the people next to the audio, like, they couldn't believe it either. But what he said there, we are a religious state, and we are going to fight it to keep that filth out of the state of Oklahoma, because we're a Christian state. We're a moral state. First of all, what's the filth he's referring to? Is it Nex Benedict specifically? Is it non-binary people? Is it LGBTQ people in general? And why is their existence filth? Like, if you go to a non-denominational megachurch almost anywhere in the country these days, they will be the first to tell you, no, we don't have a problem with anyone being gay. It's acting on it that's a problem. That's the Catholic Church's position too. What this guy is saying is, no, their existence is a problem for us because we're Christians here, and we got to keep that filth out. By the way, setting aside the word filth for a second, How are you going to keep it out? What are you going to do, Tom? How do you keep out a group of people? You're going to build a wall in Oklahoma to keep LGBTQ people out somehow? And like, what does that mean? We're a religious state. No, you're not. You're literally not. In the United States. There's no theocracy here. I know it's Oklahoma. I know it's a deeply red state. I don't care which part of Oklahoma you're in. I know there's a lot of Christians there. It doesn't matter. You're not running to be a pastor. You're running to be a lawmaker. And that means you set aside your personal religious beliefs and do what's good for everybody. How come he doesn't know that and the rest of us do? And he said something like, we're a Christian state. We're a Republican state. I'm going to vote my district. I'm going to vote my values. What are his values? His values are apparently the eradication of LGBTQ people. He didn't elaborate on what he meant by any of this later on, but it was clear what he was talking about, because for people like him, all lives matter, especially the unborn, unless they grow up to be, I guess, non-binary, in which case their murders are tolerable in the name of Jesus. And how shitty do Christians in Oklahoma have to be that a politician could lump them all together in such a heinous way? Because if I'm a Christian and I'm in Oklahoma, I would walk away from the religion and the political party that produces guys like this who co-opt my faith. But you can't expect those types of people to take the moral high road when their churches ingrain upon them exactly what Woods was saying. You can't expect conservative Christians, their leaders certainly in Oklahoma, to speak out against him and his hateful rhetoric, because deep down they all kind of feel the same way. And if I'm wrong about that, I wish they would prove me wrong. By the way, Woods was given a chance to clarify his comments by a local reporter later in the evening. And this is what he said after that event, because even the newspaper was like, dude, what did you just say? After the forum, Woods reiterated his stance on the matter. I support my constituency. And like I said, we're a Christian state and we are tired of having that shoved down our throat at every turn. I'll let my words speak for themselves. But that is my statement, and I stand behind it, and I stand behind the Republican Party values, and that is my statement. Guy is not very good with words. But what does that even mean? I support my constituency. Oh, great. So what are we going to do? Bring back lynching if that's what they want? Like, oh, we're a Christian state. What does that mean? This is why we need reporting on Christian nationalism. Like, what does that mean? We're a Christian state. So what if someone dies who's LGBTQ? We're tired of having that shoved down our throat at every turn. I go back to something I said earlier tonight. It is so typical of Christian nationalists to pretend to be the victims as if they're the ones who are being persecuted in the wake of a literal murder of a non-binary teenager. What is being shoved down his throat that he's like, oh, this is the worst thing to happen ever, in response to a question about a teenager's death? That's how despicable this guy is. So, like, imagine being a Christian in friggin' Oklahoma and thinking you're the victim of persecution. Not a single Republican, by the way, at that meeting had the guts to criticize his comments. Certainly not in the moment, probably because they all agree with him. And again, this is Oklahoma. This is a state where Ryan Walters, a Christian nationalist, is running the public schools. He uses his power to promote Christian nationalism. He hired the right-wing hate monger who runs Libs of TikTok, who doesn't even live in the state. She lives in Florida. He appointed her to an educational advisory board. Like, that's what Oklahoma education is like. It's not surprising that the Republican Party would turn their backs on a dead non-binary child. By the way, this guy, Tom Woods, he was elected in 2022 to a 4-year term. And I found this interesting. I was looking up what happened in 2022 when he got elected. And there was this story. I'm just going to point this out here. There he is on the left there, Tom Woods. But look at this. Someone hit me in the face. Senator-elect Tom Woods cited after fight with truck shop owner. If you go down here, some witness to all this said 2 women rushed over to break up the fight. One of them got her shoulder dislocated somehow, and Tom Woods hit the other one in the eye. I didn't even know those two things had happened until I was filling out my police report. So Tom Woods, the good Christian over here, punched a woman in the eye in the middle of the fight. And now he's making laws in Oklahoma. That's who you got representing you there. Oh, by the way, I also looked up what did the Oklahoma Republican Party say? Anything like in the wake of all this controversy? So I went to their Facebook page to see what they got there, and I'm gonna show you this. See when you can get to the apology or like. So this is from today, but you could see this is from 9 hours ago. Oh, that's just a Bible verse. If I'm scrolling down, because this happened like a week ago, we got a quotation from a founder, I guess. Yeah. Voting early. Fine. Women's History Month. That's funny. Oh, look, another Bible verse. Early voting. What? Oh, another Bible verse. That's 2 days ago. Oh, another Bible verse. Do you get the picture here? This is all they are tweeting over and over for the past like week. Oh, Founding Father Friday. And then yay, Texas, I guess, because they're in Oklahoma. All right, whatever. They do not care. The party doesn't care at all. They're celebrating the death of Nex Benedict too. Like, give it time. They will probably post a tally mark to celebrate the death of another kid they didn't give a damn about because it's not a fetus, so they don't care about it. Just another sign of how their Christian faith teaches them to love everybody except all the people they openly hate. Oklahoma's GOP for you. Actually, the whole GOP for you. It's not unique to Oklahoma. All right, I'm going to pause there for a second. Let's see if there are other questions here. Give me 1 second to try to close out some of these tabs for a second. Maybe everything will run a little faster. Next makes me so sad and makes me more determined than ever to stand up to bullies every time. This is just unacceptable. Yeah, me too. What a sad, sad story. I was heartened by how many students defended Nex Benedict, like staged walkouts, I believe, in Oklahoma in honor of Nex. I mean, there's hope for the future. There's just not much hope in the legislature as it stands. But that was something to see. The clapping is just as disturbing as his comment. You know what? Thank you for pointing that out, Zoe. Like in that clip, you heard a couple women who seemed shocked. They were right by the recorder. But by and large, you heard a lot of clapping for what Tom Woods was saying. And that is truly messed up, that it's not just a Republican saying something awful. It's the people there defending what he is saying and supporting what he's saying, suggesting he has supporters with all this. They're so jealous that we live our life in truth and freely when they torture and abuse each other. I wish, I want to believe you. I want to believe that they're jealous, but it's so frustrating, isn't it? Like that all their cruelty doesn't mean anything to any of them. There isn't any Christian nationalist. There isn't anyone on the right willing to speak out against this stuff. Not in a powerful way. Or at least not enough. He even placed the blame for his vile words on his constituents. Yeah, I'm just doing this because I'm representing my constituency. Like, I have to believe some of those constituents are like, no, you don't represent me. I'm one of the 3% of people who didn't vote for you in the election. So frustrating. So he's put upon for having to know that trans people exist. Yes, and he wants it to stop because the filth is in his state. And by filth, they mean their existence. Like, so awful.